Even position players will tell you in the playoffs it's all about pitching. In the regular season, not so much. Except this year, when for the Rangers it's all about pitching. We've got the story of the offense and the pitching next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Tyler Mahle, no doubt anxious to get back out on the mound today after a disappointing performance in his season debut last weekend against the Boston Red Sox. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. Welcome to the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here, Jeff Wilson there, Elijah Smith, the prophet over there. And it's kind of funny. All About Sports Zone was in the chat right away saying, yay, it's game day. Like it seems like after a really quick getaway day game, and then an off day yesterday. Seems like a while since the Rangers have played all of a sudden.
Yeah, those 1-0 games are fantastic because they go quick.
Yeah,
and the Rangers played 2 of them. The Reds went and lost 1-0 last night too.
I saw that. That's the first
crazy.
Team like in the modern era to lose 3 in a row.
I think it's the first team in at least 65 years.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty crazy stuff. But yeah. And the weather's kind of crappy, but thank God for the roof because your Rangers baseball is going to be played at 7:00, and it's time to get going. It's only a 3-game homestand, which is stupid, but that's all right.
Yeah, we'll deal with that. We'd love to have you be a part of the conversation through your lunch hour today as we talk Rangers baseball and all things relevant here. Chat with us, like us, subscribe to us, and hang out with us each and every day on the DLLS Rangers podcast. So the one thing we know about pitching, and in particular, Jeff, starting pitching, is that I think in that realm more than any other aspect, those guys, as much as their teammates, compete with each other, right? They don't want to be the one, So after Nathan Eovaldi does what he did, a complete game shutout, and then Jack Leiter goes out and does what he did, another shutout, which, included also, 4 members of the bullpen. But, that's like there's no doubt that kind of thing is on Tyler Mahle's mind, at least based on what I've seen from, starting pitchers in the past. They want to, sort of pick up where the last guy left off.
Yeah, there's no question. And after his start was a stinker, he went 1 2/3 and walked 4. He only gave up the 1 run thanks to the bullpen and the early hook, but it was still nothing that you'd really seen from him in spring training. And the spring training was pretty good. It wasn't too flashy, which is kind of what you want in spring training.
Yeah,
just go out and do your stuff and get your work in and improve on what you need to improve on. And then it was just an utter disaster, for him. And it then put the bullpen in a tough spot, and that continued really until Nathan Eovaldi threw his complete game on Tuesday. Start of a series, a start of a 6 in a row, so you do want to get off on the right foot here. You don't want to, again, spit the bit after 2 or 3 and put the bullpen in a bad spot, especially with deGrom, who's kind of on a pitch count, and Rocker, who might be on a pitch count and didn't exactly pitch great Monday in Cincinnati. So it's important to get off on the right foot here for the rotation.
Yeah, it definitely is. And when you look at a guy like Mahle, I mean, it is a little bit like what deGrom is going through. It's been a long time since Mahle has had that consistent success. Most of that, Jeff, due to injuries. Although you mix in that COVID year and you end up with it's been a minute.
Yeah. He made, 5 starts in 23?
Yeah.
And he made 3 starts last year before he hurt his shoulder. It turned out being a stress reaction, which is kind of like a hairline fracture. Anyway, they rested it, and he was fine and had a normal offseason. But yeah, it's been a while for him, and I mean, even Jacob deGrom has made more starts in the last 2 years
That's
than
right.
Tyler Mahle.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very close, but nevertheless, that's kind of the point taken here, is that he hasn't pitched for a while, and it will take a while. And Jacob deGrom the other day, after his start, we were talking. He goes, it's going to take a little bit for me to get my mechanics exactly where I want them, and so I'm sure Tyler's fighting the same thing, just without the spotlight on him. And maybe he likes it that way. He can kind of go under the radar. But you think, just based on track record, the start, the 1 2/3 tied his career low, I guess, career worst. But all the way back to 2018, that might have been his rookie year. He allowed 6 runs in 1 2/3 innings against the Nationals. He's never faced the Rays, one of 2 teams he's never faced. So that'll be interesting. And the Rays they haven't been knocking the cover off the ball. They opened with the Pirates, I believe, or they opened with the Rockies and didn't do particularly well. Then they went up against the Pirates and had to face Paul Skeens on Wednesday. Yeah. But so their bats aren't exactly scorching. So this is a good opportunity for them to figure it out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, along those lines, and Jeff mentioned, it's deGrom tomorrow. So you get to see deGrom if you go to the game tomorrow. Obviously, you could see him on TV too, but it's special to go to a game and see someone like Jacob deGrom work. It's a really amazing thing to see. So that's just a quick shout out for that. Tonight's game, though, as Jeff mentioned, it's the first of 3 with Tampa Bay in its normal start time. We'll mention it now. We'll mention it again. It's on Apple TV. So if you don't have Apple TV, all the more reason to go again tonight. You might have to fight the rain getting from the parking lot to the ballpark, but once you're inside, you're dry, you're safe, and it's huge. I mean, it's we've mentioned that a million times. This time of year, the rain delays in the past have been ridiculous.
Yeah, the games that get delayed 2 hours and start at 9 o'clock, and then that was pre-pitch clock.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't get home till 2 a.m. There's that Yankees game. We're going all the way back to 16 now. That got delayed like 3 hours, and they finished it. Like the only people in the stands were Beltre's son and Prince's kids.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep that night. I pulled an all-nighter. Yeah,
because there was a day game the next day.
Yeah, so we had to get the work done, and I was like, well, all right, here we go.
No sleep.
Yeah, not fun.
I was in studio for Fox back then, and I think it was Bassick and I actually. And anyway, maybe it was Mark. Anyway, one of us, and we were same thing. We didn't get home, to our houses till 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that day. So crazy. None of that anymore. You got the roof. You got no rain.
I think it was a night game. Nevertheless, I didn't sleep. Yeah. I didn't get to bed till like 7.
Oh, wow.
In the morning.
Yeah, that's not good. All right, so you do have a rested bullpen tonight. That's a good thing. That is, as we said, despite the fact that they used 4 relief pitchers on Wednesday, on getaway day. They had an off day yesterday, and the bullpen had an off day on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote this at the at our website. You really should become a diehard for only $79.99 plus a free T-shirt. I wrote, did Nathan Eovaldi beat the Reds twice with the start? And it turns out he did, because the bullpen was rested. Leiter was great, but then he had that blister thing come up, and so they had to go to the bullpen. Well, the bullpen was completely rested. They could mix and match however they wanted, and ended up working out. So a lot, it was a pretty light day. These guys only threw an inning apiece. Webb did go into the 4th or into the 7th, but so a light day for them. Off yesterday. They should all be available. Even Yerson Garabito should be able to pitch today if needed. But really, you're starting with a clean slate here. And again, starting pitcher needs to do a little bit more. Keep the bullpen as fresh as you can for these 6 straight before the next off day. And then you got to fly. The night after the finale against the Cubs, you fly to Seattle, so that's a long day. That's a long flight, John. And even though you're a little further north than you are for leaving from here, it's still a long dang flight.
It's always long going to Seattle.
Always.
Yeah.
So an opportunity here for the Rangers to have 3 pretty good games, but you need it to start tonight on the mound, as we've been talking about.
Yeah, and no doubt about that. And because what you'd love to see tonight is just that, three relievers are needed. I mean, in this day and age in baseball, if you can get to your 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys, right? If your starter can just get you to your 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys, which, right now, that's Robert Garcia, that's Chris Martin, and that's Luke Jackson. And they've, other than the one game where, Jackson on opening day, gave up the home run ball, they've answered the bell relatively well. Chris Martin's been great.
Yeah.
Robert Garcia may have had just a few too many walks. And Luke Jackson, like we say, other than that first game, he's been great too.
Yeah, I mean, he'll make it a little interesting.
Yeah.
His last 2 saves have not been 1, 2, 3 innings. Garcia probably had his best outing though Wednesday.
Yeah,
I think it was. He came in with a runner on and gave up the stolen base. Again, that's something that needs to be asked of the manager today. And by God, I'm going to ask it unless somebody beats me to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, you do have 3 now. It used to be 7 innings and then 2. And it wasn't that long ago.
No,
John.
It really wasn't.
And so now, I am intrigued by Jacob Webb because, he's kind of a guy who can get lefties out. So it makes sense to see him later in games, but they also need length with only Garabito as the true long guy. So he can do that too. He can give him 2 or 3 innings. So I'll be curious to see if how his role evolves over the year because, as Sports Zone asked right off the top, Adam Mahle and Rocker, who is most likely to lose the spot once Patrick Corbin joins the team. I would say Rocker, but more to my point, Corbin's going to join the team.
That's right.
Somebody has to be optioned, okay, and so it could push one of these starters through the bullpen. I mean, theoretically. So then you'd have 2 long guys, and you could use Webb differently. Now I don't think that's what'll happen. I think Mahle will keep the rotation spot. Rocker will maybe go to AAA. I mean, but we have to wait and see. He may dazzle. He may dazzle on Sunday.
Sure, but it makes more sense if you're just basing it on what we've seen thus far. It makes more sense to have the young guy go there and get more development time. I mean, there's again, just like Evan Carter down there. There's nothing wrong with going to the minor leagues at this stage of the career of an Evan Carter, at this stage of a career of a Kumar Rocker. Going to the minor leagues and getting more experience is nothing but good. And, as long as you approach it in the proper way, and we know that Evan Carter is, and we're certain that Kumar Rocker would do the same thing.
Yeah. It's they need to be aware of who they are and where they are in their careers and understand that this is completely possible that something like this would happen. And again, we're kind of putting him 1 foot in the Round Rock grave, and we don't want to do that yet. But it's fine. Young guys get sent down all the time. And the one that comes to mind for me, with the Rangers at least, is Rougned Odor, who came up 14 when Profar was hurt and they had all those injuries, and he looked pretty good, and then 15 he stunk and they sent him down.
Yeah.
Then he came back and was a really good player for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Just get him out of the pressure environment. Get him down to where they can really develop. I know those teams want to win down there, but the goal of minor league baseball is player development, and it can be a guy who's coming back like Corbin, just working on mechanics, trying to get everything lined up for the regular season. His debut, I think he's going to start Saturday in Frisco, and then he'd be ready on the 11th to start it at Seattle. But it's okay. It's okay if these things happen.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it's fun, actually. It makes it very interesting. It makes us wonder what's going to happen and how things are going to play out. We, of course, wonder how they'll play out with the offense tonight because, frankly, it's been pretty much non-existent throughout the course of the first 7 games of the year. So let's see if it shows up tonight. We'll talk offense. We'll talk about some of the things surrounding tonight's game next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
John, I know you had the opportunity to talk to some of the people.
I did.
With the American Rodeo, and that's pretty cool. They are headed to town here. John, when is that?
The 10th through the 12th of April.
Yeah, and it's high quality stuff. I mean, these guys are world champs. There's tons of money on the line. We're talking what, millions of dollars?
Yeah,
and
$3 million purse overall.
Yeah, I mean that's unbelievable.
Huge.
And you know, for them to want to do it at Globe Life Field, where hey, you know, they've hosted some rodeo stuff. You remember coming out of the pandemic, they were hosting events, and you know, some people were thinking that maybe someday they would host the National Finals Rodeo if they could ever get out of Las Vegas's vice grip. But anyway, April 11th through the 12th, that's next weekend at Globe Life Field. You can watch the stars of the American Rodeo and really have a good time, a good old time, John, down at Globe Life Field.
Yeehaw. I'm right now looking on our wonderful Game Time app to see what I can get. I can get a 2-day pass to the American Rodeo in the lower bowl on Game Time right now for $103. How about that?
Sounds pretty good, John.
Yeah. So that's a great value. Hunter's one for $141. There's one. Oh, these are upper. Okay. Maybe I was that was lower. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, Game Time's got it. The American Rodeo is right there on the Game Time app. Everything you want is right there on the Game Time app. I noticed that Amy L. and the Sniffers are coming to the House of Blues.
Did Nicole tell you that, or did you see that walking in today?
Nicole gave me a heads up on, and it's AMYL. It's all like it's Emil.
I don't
looks
know.
like it's a girl.
Okay,
Amy L.
Never
or
know
Emil
these days.
and the Sniffers. So Game Time, great app. Anything you want is there, including sports. $20 off your first purchase. DLLS is the code.
You know, I usually keep my tabs open, my search engine.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know, my computer update or what have you last night, and the damn thing, when I turned it on this morning, I had to reload them all. Well, I didn't reload the DLS ad copy, so I was kind of going off the top of my head.
Flying blind a little bit.
Anyway, it's back-to-back nights of unmatched competition at the American Rodeo. Friday's the qualifying round where dreams are made or broken.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
Then Saturday, it's championship round where the best of the best go head-to-head for the ultimate title. 1 weekend, 2 and 4 good old nights in Arlington.
Yeah, and you know, when I talked with Cade Sonnier is his name. He's the champion, world champion in bareback riding. When I talked to him, he's like, dude, because he won last year. Consequently, he is eligible to, if he wins again this year, to make $1 million. He goes, where can you make $1 million in one day? And I guess, are there baseball players yet? There are baseball players making $1 million a game? No, not yet.
No one's making $162 million a year.
A year, that's right. Yeah. So, anyway, not very many places to answer
Correct.
Cade's question. Not very many places you can make $1 million a year. So the excitement level will be through the roof at Globe Life Field, April 10th through the 12th. I think the excitement level will be pretty high tonight, especially because, look, we know this about Rangers fans. Rangers fans are fantastic, and they'll be fired up, you know, to beat hell if the offense does what it's going to do, right? What it's destined to do, and maybe tonight's the night. This offense is built to be powerful. It's built really 1 to 9, Jeff. There's not very many breathers in there, but certainly you can absolutely see circumstances. We've seen it where Jake Berger's hitting 7th. And so 1 through 7 for sure. It's like, oh my God, who do I pitch to? Right.
Right. And that's the goal. You want your lineup to be deep and long, and no pitchers can't be like, oh, good. Here's unfortunately, here's Ezekiel Duran. Right. You know, Zeke he's been spinning his wheels all spring, but that's the thinking is, gosh, I can't let up on this guy. I got to throw this guy a 3-0 slider, because if he swings on 3-0 and it's a fastball down the middle, he's gonna hammer it. So it puts stress on the pitcher That's the big thing. And then, it's really hard to kind of pick your poison when everybody's going good. It's like, boy, do I pitch to Adolis here, or do I pitch around him and try to get out Josh Young? Something like that. And Young might be hot. So the thinking is this team just has it has too many proven hitters and too many guys with a lot of upside to stink.
Right. Yeah.
And that's ultimately what we're saying here.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it has so far. At least the results have. I'm not sure approaches have. I'm not sure any of those things have. I'm not sure, anybody in the Rangers hitting, department, if you will, the coaches and all that, are that frustrated by what they're seeing other than the results. And they haven't been getting those. When is, you mentioned Josh, dates so well. When's he eligible? Do you remember?
Yeah, he got hurt on that second game of the season, which was the 28th. So it can backdate to the 29th. He was IL'd on the 30th. So 10 days from the 29th, which would be, I think, Thursday. Next Thursday.
All right. So we're not going to see him on
Wednesday, maybe. Next Wednesday, maybe. But
we're not going to see him here.
They were like, initially the thought was 4 or 5 days of rest would do a lot of wonders for him. Well, we're in that window right now. So definitely something that I got to track down at the ballpark today. Josh, fortunately, spent some time in the clubhouse. We ought to be able to find him. And I bet he's out doing stuff today.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting, probably back into baseball activities today, and no doubt has been, working out but resting. I mean, that's the whole thing too. You have to be careful, especially something with spasms, neck spasms, is what he's dealing with.
I'm 50, and as you know, John, sometimes things just happen that have no explanation. So yesterday I'm putting on my shoes, and all of a sudden I feel something grab in my shoulder, and neck. I'm not out there diving for balls and playing baseball and all those things. So, and it still hurts today, and it's like, how the hell does something like this happen? So it doesn't go away. You can rub it all you want. I've got one of those Theraguns that I was pounding it out.
Yeah.
It didn't work. So, multiply that by 10 times probably to get Josh Young to go on the IL. So hopefully 4 or 5 days did him some wonders.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember when I was 50 and I was seeing Dr. Keith Meister for something, and something else, maybe a knee thing from all the running I used to do. And I said, so when I throw, just play catch with my son, my shoulder's killing me, but that's just because I'm 50, right? I'm like, I'm not allowed to throw anymore. He goes, no, that's not. You're allowed to throw at 50. So we worked on it, and I actually got it better. But
okay, good.
So it's not impossible at that age, but it gets harder and harder. There's no doubt. That's why there aren't very many 50-year-old baseball players.
I don't think there are any.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll have to look that up. There never have been, by the way. We need to get out of the offense. We need to get, we've seen flashes, right, from every one of the guys who were, who underperformed last year. Jonah Heim, flashes, a 2-home-run game. Adolis Garcia, the last 2 games of the series against the Red Sox. We've seen it from, those 2 in particular were the ones you needed to see things from this year. We didn't get to see anything out of Josh Young yet, but his underperformance last year was more.
He had 2 good games.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And his underperformance last year was more injury related than anything else anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, Marcus is the one who's kind of flown under the radar here, and which is, he's at the top of the lineup, and I think he gets a lot of grace because of his track record, but it starts with him, and if the offense is going to get going, he needs to at least, get on base a couple times. It doesn't have to be a hit. He did lead off the exhibitions with the home run against the Royals on the first pitch of the game, and boy, that'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to see Corey Seager dealing with the calf injury, see him on base a couple times. So really, those 2 guys who you count on to generate the most offense are not generating any offense. So get them going. That's probably where the offense's woes will be cured if those 2 are better. Because Wyatt Langford's been really good. Like you said, Adolis has been pretty good. And then you've gotten some good things down the lineup a little further from like a Higashioka. Pilar was really good. He probably won't play much this series because it's 3 right-handers. Tavares was good in the opening series against the Red Sox. So it is 1 through 9, but when 1 and 2 are not doing their job, it makes things a little bit harder.
Thank you, Gallagher Champ, for correcting us. Satchel Paige.
Maybe.
Played till he was 59. 59.
That's crazy.
He made his debut with the Cleveland Indians then in 1948 at age 42, and his last major league game was at age 59. Unbelievable.
What was that line from Coming to America? They're in their barbershop talking, and Eddie Murphy's the barber goes, Joe Louis is 104 years old. Satchel Paige is 104 years old.
Yeah, 104 years old, still playing. So, hey, there's a bobblehead at the game tonight, too. Another reason to go. It's the Peagle, right? The actual Peagle, which I believe there's power in the Peagle, Jeff. I like the City Connect uniforms.
Yeah.
And it's the last year for them.
For this version of them. I'm wondering why they can't retire the Peagle after 3 years.
I think so.
I figure anyway, the Peagle, Chuck Morgan brought it in. Yeah. It looks pretty cool. We'll see if we can't get one for the table here for next week to get us started. But yeah, it's bobblehead night's always a big night. Yep. It doesn't matter who it is.
No.
People just want the bobbleheads.
People like
those
bobbleheads.
Championship rings last
a lot of them
year.
go right home and put them on eBay.
Yeah.
But unless they're super special, they don't sell for much on eBay. But
yeah, you gotta hit it right away too. Yeah. I sold some. I'm not gonna lie. I sold a Derek Jeter bobblehead from a Yankees game.
Did you?
Yeah, I sold it for like $100.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a David Ortiz one from one I got in Fenway that I sold. Hey, every little bit helps.
Sure, absolutely. Well, again, it's not like you have an emotional attachment to Big Papi or even to the captain. I mean, it's just like whatever.
These Rangers ones, the kids want them.
Yeah,
my kids, so I can't. I don't even think about it.
Yeah. Oh God, the number I've gotten over the years, and most of them I've just given away.
Right.
I have very few at the house, but anyway, it's still fun, and it's fun for fans to go. It's always fun to get something for free too. By God, you buy a ticket to the game, and they give you something for free just for being there. So I'm back. I mean, I remember. I'm old enough to remember back in the day there was Bat Day and Ball Day, maybe a batting glove day, but that was it. I mean, there weren't a lot of giveaways, and of course they had to start giving away bats at the end of the game because people started throwing them out on the field and using them as a weapon in the stand. So
I remember the old. I grew up in Denver before the Rockies, and so they had the AAA team, the Bears, who later became the Zephyrs. And they had a batting glove day, and we went, and it was like the crap. It was like the offhand for me. So couldn't get one for the left hand. We had one for the right hand, and they were huge. So they weren't kid friendly.
Didn't really work out.
And I guess I'm pretty sure I was planning to use them in games. I was pretty sure these are what the Zephyrs use. I'm gonna get out there and swing with them.
I want to use a professional baseball glove.
They weren't Franklin or Bruce Bolt is the big one these days. Bruce Bolt. Yeah.
Later in the show, we're going to talk about one of the great sports companies in America right now, Victus. And we are also, when we here in a second, going to talk about the minor leagues. It's opening day for everything under AAA today. So we'll talk about that coming up in just a minute. I also wanted to mention it's opening day in so many places. The Mets are having opening day today. The Tigers are having opening day today. And I just want to tip my cap, figuratively, to Major League Baseball. Because I always used to say that when I lived in Detroit. Like, why do the Tigers start at home in March when it's 30, Let's send the Tigers and the Mets and the Yankees and all the Red Sox, which they did, south to start the season, or west to start the season, and then bring them back at least a week into the season. And, you got a better shot at it. Doesn't guarantee great weather,
right?
But you got a better shot at it.
Sure. And I know the bell just rang, but the Rangers were the Tigers home opener. maybe an 11 or 10. Chris Benson pitched the first game. But anyway, it was 4 day games.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to maximize the good weather. And
Sure.
the series went off without a hitch. But yeah, it was a little later.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. It really should. Kudos to the schedule maker at Major League Baseball. All right, up next, it's minor league baseball. Jeff and John Moore did an entire show on the weekly podcast about the Rangers minor league system. We're going to sort of encapsulate some of those thoughts and do a segment next on the Rangers minor league, including the AA Frisco Rough Riders, who have opening day today. That's next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And I'll tell you this, Monarch Money is more than just one of your regular budgeting apps. Monarch Money is a great – Monarch Money, you know what it's like? It's like you having a personal CFO, and that is huge. I mean, you really need the help of someone with all the crazy stuff that's going on with the economy and all the crazy stuff that's the prices and the inflation, and Monarch Money is the place to go. It's more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center for your accounts, your investments, and most importantly, your goals. Don't just manage your money. Start building your wealth with 50% off the first year. For our listeners, yeah, Monarch Money is the place to go. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money and use the code DLLS at monarchmoney.com. You get half off the first year. That's 50% off your first year with the code DLLS.
It's time for me to talk sleeper and how awesome I am. I'm now 6-0 in the DLLS sleeper standings. So
nice.
I'm killing everybody, and I'm sure they're all jealous. But anyway,
I can't wait to hear Kavanaugh bitching about it.
He probably has some things to say. But the sleeper app, download it, use the code DLS, get up to $100 first match deposit. It's daily picks. I mean, they're known for their fantasy stuff, but now they're in the fantasy daily picks. I'm into it. You can do it for as little as $1. I'm generally in the 3 to 5 range on what I do, and I'm trying to keep it a little lower on the 3 on the amount of picks I make. But you can make a pick. Will Juan Soto have a hit?
Yeah,
I bet he does. So I've already got a couple ready to go. Anyway, sleeper, download the app, DLLS Rangers, $100 first match deposit.
Yeah, it's his first game, Juan Soto, in Citi Field as a Met, right? So they've been on the road for a week, and this is opening day for the New York Mets today. So I wouldn't be surprised if Juan Soto does thrill the Metropolitan faithful and gets a hit today. So it's probably a pretty safe bet. All right, minor leagues, of course, AAA started a week or so ago as well, but the AA Frisco Rough Riders start today. And I remember, it's been a long time now, but I remember when they first put a AA team in the same market, right, as the major league team, and I just thought, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. Boy, it's worked wonderfully.
Sure.
I mean, it's been and it's happened. It's not just here. Although I don't know that there were very many markets that had their minor league team within them prior to Frisco being that for the Rangers. But it is unbelievable how well it's worked, and it's so easy to get a player, certainly from AAA. I mean, from AA, I should say,
right? If
that's the call up you're going to make. And that Rough Riders Stadium, so fantastic. It's still very affordable. They've got the lazy river. You won't use it tonight, but it's pretty cool. It's really cool that there is a minor league affiliate right here in town, because, again, when you go out to a Frisco Rough Riders game, Jeff, like tonight, you can see the future at shortstop in Sebastian Walcott.
Sebastian Walcott, number 2 prospect in baseball, according to The Athletic. But everybody has him as a top 50 guy for sure. And, he's 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", whatever. He's added muscle this offseason. 19 years old.
Unbelievable. He's
just
19.
He's 19 years old in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So he's still a young guy, but he really does it all. He was in big league camp, showed pretty well. We had him on our show.
Yeah.
really appreciate that. You're looking at a potential superstar when you go out to Frisco and watch him. And then Winston Santos is pitching. He was 3 perfect innings in the spring breakout games that they held across spring training. He's on the 40-man, so you never know. But yeah, he did have some struggles last year at Frisco after he got called up to Double-A. That seems to be kind of his track record. He'll struggle at a new level before figuring it out eventually. So he's got an opportunity to have a good year, and who knows where he finishes up. But it's a fun group out there, and again, sometimes guys who deserve to be in AAA out of spring training are sent to Double-A because of all the non-roster invites to camp who don't make the roster and have to go someplace until they exercise their outs or whatever. Robbie Alstrom being the example here this year. Guy deserves to be in AAA. Finished last year at AAA, was fantastic in spring training, but you could see Robbie Alstrom theoretically get called up from Double-A because he was so good in spring training and left such an impression on these guys. But to your point about the game experience at Frisco, Chuck Greenberg, once he bought the team, really it's taken off. Some of the best attendance in minor league baseball, great promotions. Zach Bigley, who does their radio and media relations, and Scott Burchett, who's the general manager out there. It's just a good time. It's a great family outing. It really is, to go to a minor league game. You can afford it, and you're watching baseball.
Yeah, I think you can get a ticket for $10 or $11 to go to the game there, and you can get a really good one for under $50, I think. So now,
but there's not like a bad seat in the house.
No, there really isn't. No. There, you feel close to the action in every seat in that stadium, which is also really cool. So, and of course, if you live in the northern part, of the Metroplex up there in that Frisco, Prosper, Salina, area up there, I mean, that's that's a booming area, and it's not easy, especially as you get to the further northern suburbs that I mentioned, Salinas and Prospers of the world. Ain't easy getting to the Globe Life Field. I mean, at that time, at the time of day, you need to go.
Exactly.
It's very difficult. So anyway, it's always an option, and it's a great one. So how will Walcott? Is there any chance he plays all season at Double-A, or will he get called up to Triple-A?
There's a chance. There's no need to rush him.
Right.
That's kind of the thing. There's no need to rush him, but they also don't want to stunt his development. And if he's in Frisco and hitting, I don't know, let's say 280 with a bunch of home runs and a big OPS, you could really see him get moved up fairly quickly. But again, there's no need to. It's not like the major league team is screaming out for a shortstop. They have one of the best hitters in the game there. I've talked to some people and they've wondered aloud, well, what if Adolis Garcia were to struggle in right field? Could Walcott could learn right field in no time at all. If he does good at Frisco and AAA, maybe he becomes an option there. I would think it would take a significant downturn of somebody's fortunes, whether it be injury or production, for him to be in the major leagues this year. But you saw Jurickson Profar get called up from Double-A,
So he was 19, wasn't he?
He was. Yes. Very similar paths here. Yeah. Different players, but similar paths. So as much as people want to step on the gas with these top prospects, keep in mind age, what's at the major league level. Does Walcott have to move off of shortstop to play in the majors? You would think so. But anyway, they thought maybe by now he would already have shown through his size that he would have to move off of the position. They're not convinced of that yet. So that's a pretty good sign. And these shortstops keep getting bigger and bigger. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz is 6'5", 200. O'Neal Cruz was 6'7". Now he's in center field for the Pirates, but you get the point. And Corey Seager is a big dude.
Yeah. Is he 6'4"? I bet
he's definitely taller than
3 anyway. Yeah.
And he's put together. It's these guys are big. These shortstops aren't made like they used to be. There's no Louis Aparicios out there anymore.
Right. So we basically think that Sebastian Walcott is the most exciting thing potentially that we'll see at the AA level. What about below there? What are we watching for in high A and low A?
Yeah, the backlog there on the starting at AAA has kind of caused a backlog at high A, which is now Hub City.
Yes.
In Spartansburg, South Carolina. The Hub City Spartan Burgers, they are high A. Hickory was high A the last few years. They're now back to low A. High A, there's some guys who can pitch. David Davalillo is going to be their opening day starter tonight. He had such a great year last year at Down East, which was low A, then came up and really didn't have any issues at all. So you kind of look at their pitching staff. Paul Bonzagni, who went to, I believe, Grapevine High School, is another guy. Aiden Curry, who had a bad year last year, but a lot of people like Aiden. Another right-hander, kind of in the Josh Stephen realm, was one of those guys in 2020 that said, "Screw it, I'm going to sign for $20,000." And we shouldn't forget Josh, who's going to be a really good pitcher there for Frisco, and Mitch Brad at Frisco.
Yeah,
all guys though who've been at made the stops along the way. So the pitching will be good there. Malcolm Moore, the first round pick last year, is going to be in Hub City, and you want to watch his development. Just kind of listening to him talk about how much he's learned since he was drafted at Stanford, which is obviously a baseball school.
Sure,
just how much the difference is between catching in professional baseball and catching in college. So and he impressed a lot of people in his first big league camp. So you kind of wonder, there's not like a true prospect catcher that the Rangers have.
That's right.
Between Moore and the big leagues. I mean, the two catchers at AAA one's a 2-time Gold Glove winner. Yeah. Tucker Barnhart, and then Chad Wallach, whose dad was Tim Wallach, who played for a lot of teams, but I remember him as an Expo there in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then really you look at there's a little bit of a gap there. So Moore has a chance to kind of take off, but he needs to grow. He didn't like hit the ball off the cover off the ball last year. The outfielders, the second and third rounders, Casey Cook second rounder was Dylan Dreiling, and then Casey Cook. They're both there. Anthony Gutierrez is a guy to watch for sure there. He's been hurt, but he had a healthy offseason. He stayed here in the United States. His English is perfect now, and I think he's ready to take off.
All right, so let's talk about that backlog at AAA a little bit. Like there's a lot right now to watch at AAA, Jeff. Obviously, we're all going to keep an eye on Evan Carter and wonder, when he will, if and when he will be called back up to the major leagues. We're going to keep, although I've forgotten to keep much of an eye on him yet, Dane Dunning is down there. The guys who are down there who didn't expect to be, I guess, are the first that you kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah. Everybody wants Evan back in the majors. He wants to be back in the majors, and maybe his 0.59 batting average suggests that he wants it a little too badly.
Yeah,
pressing some. He's 1 for 17 this season. 7 strikeouts, I think it was last time I checked. So he needs to clear his head, just get everything right.
Relax.
That one looks like it's going to take some time. Dunning pitched the other night. He started. It was 2 innings. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. So that he just needs to work on getting himself back to where he was 2 years ago. And remember, he was a Rangers pitcher of the year, the year they won the World Series. So he has an opportunity now, but he's not on the 40-man anymore. So he's got some work to do. But you see the guys like Caleb Bosley, who started last night, and David Buchanan, who's starting tonight. Guys who are experienced, a lot of minor league experience. Buchanan's case, he started for the Phillies for a couple of years and went overseas. Is he part of the future? Not really, but do you trust him enough that if it's in a pinch, you need an arm? It falls on his day. I think you'd rather have Adrian Hauser, and really, I think Mike Maddox really likes Bosley.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the depth right now too. That's the rotation depth, including Patrick Corbin. Toyota.
Who's not really there though.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Toyota isn't starting. He's getting stretched out to about 3 innings, and then they'll decide when he gets there what his next move is, whether it's the major leagues or whether it's all right. Let's keep this starting thing going. So that's where but it is jammed up. There's guys like Cody Hauer and JT Chargois and guys like that. It's like, all right, do they have outs? When can they get out?
And those 2 catchers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So things will be moving here probably by the middle of next month. May 1st and May 15th are big out days. I think Sam Haggerty has a May 1st out. So things will start to get shooken up. Things will start happening here in a few weeks. The bell rang, but Hickory's starter is Caden Scarborough, who's kind of the darling of the farm system right now, the 6th-round pick in 23, who's doing some good things.
Awesome.
Yep.
We'll look forward to all of it. We'll be the show of record. And don't forget, as I mentioned, Jeff and John Moore do a great job of doing that too on the weekly show. So go take a look at that, because they'll do a deep dive into each and every one of those minor league affiliates of your Texas Rangers. Coming up next, it's our cleanup segment. Lots to talk about as we get to one of the most unbelievable walk-offs you've ever seen in your life next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's time to talk merch. Look at this one,
John, it's a good thing I'm wearing a pullover because I'm wearing the exact same shirt.
Are you really?
Yeah. And
you told me you were...
Well, GM Ben has...
does he have one of the...
I got mine yesterday.
Oh, I haven't gotten mine yet. Look at the skipper. Look at the skipper with baseball time in Texas.
I got mine yesterday as well.
That's fantastic.
I did decide though to throw them in the wash.
You told me you were wearing the Texas Chew today.
I know, and no. Well, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that.
See what I'm saying? I wore this because you were wearing the damn Texas. Glad you wore the Masters thing, for God's sake.
Yeah, well, it's chilly.
We looked like the skipper and Bobby did the other day when they were wearing the same shirt.
Fortunately, I came prepared.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love the merch, and that right there is a great shirt the skipper's got on. Mine's ordered. I haven't seen. I live in the country, so they have to find me first, and then I'm not going to get mine as quick.
Now mine are in the wash next week. I'll wear them back-to-back days, Monday and Tuesday.
You don't have to wash them. Skipper didn't wash his.
Well,
so
mine kind of smelled like the packaging.
Did it?
Yeah.
That's the good smell. That good, fresh, clean, new shirt smell.
New shirt, plastic smell.
So yeah, there's the baseball time in Texas, and there is the Hello Win column. And Jeff and I both come. Do you have both? Yep. All right. Skip's got both too. So there you go. And become a diehard too, because there's all that great content behind the paywall that you need to read. There's more and more coming each and every day from our groups. The Cowboys have had so much to write about. The Stars, pretty much the best team in the NHL right now. Mavs, you know what? They're going to be in the play-in. There's stuff there. Anthony Davis looks good. And if for $79.99 all that content isn't worth it, you're a fool. AllDLLS.com to become a diehard. All right, so it's the classic situation in a game. It's the 11th inning. Which in this day and age, not that many go 11. I mean, they do, true. But a lot of them end in that 10th inning. 11th inning. Got a runner at third. It's the bottom of the 11th inning, and we're tied at 3. 3? Tied at 2. Maybe
2.
We're tied at 2. Yeah.
It was Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this was Wednesday. And just like you'd expect, the hitter steps to the plate, and he crushes an exit velocity of 13.2 miles an hour for a walk-off. How can that be, you ask? Take a look.
All right, let's see how it plays out. Long is ready. And Terang does square, gets a bunt down. Here comes Dane. He scores!
A squeeze play. A safety squeeze by Terang. He scores done. And the Brewers walk it off with a bunt.
Hey, it's interesting they did that because the third baseman was in and it's a left-handed hitter. I'm not sure who was at first for the Royals, but if it's Rowdy Tellez, you can see he's a stump. Or might have, he's not going anywhere. It might have been Salvador Perez. So you got it was perfect execution. Ron Washington probably loved that.
Yeah. That was fantastic. That's old school too, right?
Yeah, well,
that's really old. That's why
they needed a win. They were licking their wounds after that Yankees series.
Yeah.
So those Brewers needed a win, and good for them.
Yeah, that was pretty fun, and I love that kind of managing. And then look, it's still a surprise, right? Like if the third baseman was in, I guess you sort of knew, right? But no, you didn't know. Yeah. It's a surprise. You're not expecting that in that situation. So
and maybe if it's bunted to the third baseman, the runner, if it was a safety squeeze holds.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that was just you got to execute there. You got to execute.
Yeah, you do, and it's not easy to execute that, especially since not as many guys work on bunting anymore like they used to. It's not a, and again, in part because analytics don't like them. Right. Analytics don't like, any kind of bunts. Sacrifice bunts they don't like. They're not that big of fans of squeeze bunts, so it's not as much of an emphasis in the game. But the old school guys, they still love it. So that's cool. I told you we would talk about the hottest sports company in the world later in the show, and here we are talking about Victus Sports out of Prussia, New Prussia, whatever it's called, Pennsylvania. It's a suburb of Philly.
Okay. I'm familiar with Victus, I think.
Inventors of the torpedo bat. And they made, in 2023, they made a dozen torpedo bats.
Okay.
And this year, prior to the 9 home run game, they made 12 more. And they've since been taking an order at an average of 1 every 2 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy.
Is it unbelievable?
Well, that Victus.
Yeah, they're big. I mean, they were big. Anyway.
We recognize them. I recognize them from the Little League circuit. They made a bat that looks like a pencil with an eraser at the top.
That's right.
It's pretty cool.
Exactly
looking
right.
bat.
Yeah.
I got an email today from Louisville Slugger. Said, "Hey, the torpedo's here."
Right, and that's the thing.
So, I mean, they're cranking these things out.
I can't believe Victus didn't, but maybe it wouldn't have been on them. Maybe it was on Lenny. Somebody needed to copyright or trademark this thing.
Whatever.
Yeah, trademark this thing. But they didn't. And so, yeah, everybody's making them now. And again, the science, the part that Lenny did, Aaron Leandro or whatever his name was, I call him Lenny. The part that he did was he took guys into a lab and looked at, like the original one, the very first one was made for Anthony Volpe. And he took him into the lab, and which is a batting cage, and looked at where he was missing, and they looked at his spots on the bat, and then they made it specifically for him.
Right.
But the truth is that's where most people miss, right?
Yeah,
most people miss. Though that inside pitch is the hardest pitch to hit. So, it makes sense for everybody. So then it becomes a little bit of a one-size-fits-all torpedo bat.
Well, and so the guys who you're pitching inside, and they've moved the barrel. We talked about this the other day. Just start pitching them outside.
Yeah,
they're going to start having weak contact to on outside pitches. And I saw Will Clark kind of went off on his podcast on these guys, and Will's never been afraid to hide his opinion, but
no.
He's not too fond of these things. But again, you saw not Anthony Volpe, Ellie De La Cruz, first game against the Rangers. Uses the torpedo. Man, what a game. He went 0 for 8 to finish the series. Or maybe it was 1 for 7, or 1 for 8. But whatever, the point being, you still got to hit the ball.
Yep.
And their pitching is still going to be good hitting, whether you have the torpedo bat in your hand or not. Maybe it won't beat it as often. Maybe instead of whatever the league average was last year, 240, maybe it'll jump up to 243.
Yeah.
But I just really think that everybody needs to kind of tap the brakes on the torpedo.
Yeah, agreed. But good for Victus. It's good to be Victus today, and like you say, Louisville and everybody else is going to sell a bunch of them, and let's see what happens. Aaron Judge hit his 500th extra base hit. And it was a home run, of course, right? And he did that in 999 games. So basically, that's an extra base hit every other game in his career.
It's pretty stout.
It's the third fastest that anyone has ever gotten to 500 extra base hits. The two that got there more quickly than him were Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, okay.
Gehrig did it in 853 games. Gehrig had 500 extra base hits, and I think DiMaggio was in the 800s too, maybe 890s or something.
Yeah, I saw a stat where Babe Ruth hit his 300th career homer and his 1,000th at bat, and Judge was right there. I don't know if the home run yesterday came in the 1,000th at bat, but the guy's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And he's off to an amazing start.
That's the amazing thing. You know, I think in part because of Ohtani, I don't want to say Judge gets lost. I mean, we were all hyped up like all get out on the and he did it here when he broke the record, the single season record.
Yeah.
So Maris's record. But you know, I mean, it is almost like, oh yeah, Judge is doing what he does. But look at this Ohtani. You know what I mean? It's weird that there's essentially two Babe Ruths right now.
Yeah. Offensively, yes. And then, you know, at what point you're still going to get these guys out, you know? I mean, I don't even think Ohtani, did he hit 300 last year?
No. I don't think he's one of them.
So it's not, you're still going to get him out. It's just you can't make mistakes to these guys. That's the big thing. And they can hit your mistakes that you think are good pitches, and they're not mistakes enough. You know, you got to really get them, find their cold zones, and try to beat them where the numbers say, and execute. You got to execute. A lot of pitchers these days can't execute. That's kind of the trouble.
Yeah, that's what Mark McLemore used to talk about all the time on the shift. He's like, all you have to do is make your pitch, and they'll hit right into the shift.
Yeah.
But if you don't make your pitch, they're not going to hit into the shift. And so, but that's a hell of a lot easier said than done.
Right.
Making your pitch. Speaking of making their pitch, pretty much everybody's made their pitch against the Astros yesterday, especially against Jose Altuve. First time in his career, Altuve had 5 strikeouts.
Really?
5 Ks in a game. And I saw a clip, I think it was a Houston fan, I saw a clip of him just, you know, kicking a ball around up there in left field like it was soccer. And the Houston fan was going, this is a failed experiment. Now, I don't know that it is. I haven't looked at how he's doing as a left fielder. But, yeah, there you go.
Overtime.
We're doing overtime. Wow, not according to that clock, but by God, we love you. Go to alldlls.com to hang with us. Here we go. A little bit extra here as we talk about Altuve's failures, but it doesn't appear that, you know, I don't think the Astros have fallen off the cliff.
No, and you got to give it some time, but he does have to. He is learning a new position.
Yeah,
and maybe he's putting more focus on that than he normally would, and maybe it's taken away from his offense. But I don't know. 5 strikeout games, pretty bad, but I have a feeling he'll be fine.
Yeah, I do too. I got faith in Jose Altuve. And finally, J.C. Escarra got his first hit yesterday. Are you familiar with the work of J.C. Escarra?
I'm not.
He is a New York Yankee who, in the offseason, was driving Uber.
Oh, yeah. I've heard.
This kid,
I've heard him. Yeah.
This kid. And he, you know, it was an unlikely story that he made it to spring training. And then he did well in spring training, obviously. He made the club, and he got his first hit yesterday after I think he batted 5 times in the game, and he was 0 for 4. And he's a backup catcher, by the way, for the Yankees. And lo and behold, in his 5th at bat, he lined a double down the left field line, and
cool.
the Yankees went nuts for this kid. They get it. They know where he came from. They know how the odds were stacked against him. I mean, it's the kind of stuff movies are made of. He was a substitute teacher and an Uber driver a year ago.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
You know, and that tells you, you know, probably wasn't a top prospect, so whatever he signed for probably could barely cover his, car payment probably,
Right.
and it's fun that they get to battle it out. Something happens, they figure it out, they develop, and then all of a sudden, hey, become an option.
Yeah.
And catchers are hard to find. Good catchers are hard to find. The Rangers are pretty fortunate to have 2 of them.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to do it for this one.
We got a couple questions.
Oh, let's get to them. Yeah, let's go.
How long do you think Avery Weems is going to stay in AA? Well, I think he's one of those roadblock guys too, but he didn't pitch a ton last year because of this weird finger thing. I talked to him in spring training. He's just had the worst luck in his career, but he's healthy, and lefties can pitch forever. So I hope good things for Avery, but I would assume that between Avery Weems and Robbie Alstrom and Jake Latz and Walt Pennington, the Rangers have some left-handed relief depth. So that's pretty good. And then the Blake gave a weather update from Frisco, thinking that Frisco might get rained out tonight.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah, well, they might. And then, dadgummit, what was the other one?
Oh, somebody asked if either of us are traveling, and we're not. Not this road trip.
Yeah, we're working on it with the skipper and our sales staff, which is nearing, we hope, a deal that would allow us to get out on the road.
Yeah, and we know this for sure. The trip not necessarily funded by DLLS, but I will be in Detroit for the Rangers series.
Okay, well, that's fun.
Yeah. So I'll be there. It's hard for me to miss a Rangers series in Detroit. So I'm going, by God.
Yeah, and then Mista asked, what are the Cleburne Railroaders to the Texas Rangers? They're nothing. Independent team. Nice little ballpark down there, though.
Cool. Yeah.
Henry's had some workouts there. John Sturban, the old Star Telegram Motorsports writer, is a season ticket holder and says he and his lady friend have a nice time going down there and watching ball.
Do we know?
I think Pete Incavilli is the manager.
Pete is. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So Pete, by the way, one of those guys who never played in the minor leagues. So
there you go.
Keep that in mind. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you. Of course, Rangers play tonight. They play tomorrow. Tomorrow they're back on the Rangers Sports Network, but tonight, don't forget, they're on Apple TV. So either get Apple, or hopefully you have Apple, or be frustrated. I'll tell you what, the couple of games I couldn't listen to because I didn't have couldn't watch because I didn't have my direct TV situation yet. I listened to Matt and Eric.
Pretty good option.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
They'll keep you informed, updated. They paint you a picture. So anyway, that's 105.3 The Fan, by the way, locally. All right, we'll talk to you again Sunday. We got a pregame show, and we'll be looking forward to the Rangers against the Rays on Sunday right here on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.